And I think for this album, it was kind of more of it's do or die. And I might as well just talk about the things that I'm feeling all the time. And if somebody doesn't like it or, anything like that, then too bad, I guess, because people are going to not like it regardless, whether or not I'm vague. So I might as well be a little bit more authentic and a little bit more honest about how I feel.
Ghost Cult Magazine welcomes back in Capra, Crow, and Tyler. How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I've been a little bit better. I'm a little under the weather. I have been traveling around, a lot of exposure to people. Every time I see you guys, it seems like I'm not the best, but we're going to make it through today because we have this awesome...
that head cold last week. It was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, you guys just came back from tour, right? You guys just came back from Europe and a whole gang of tour dates coming up in the States to support your brand new album, Errors.
Yeah.
On Metal Blade / Blacklight Media Records. Like Tyler and I spoke about a year and a half ago, and then I saw you guys play live in Oakland, and it was mind-blowing. Anybody who could steal the show from Whores, in my opinion, is like already we're not worthy level praise, because Whores I have up like in esteem up here. We've been following them the whole way of their career also, basically 20 years. So, seeing you guys live for the first time, really putting everything from the last record together, and now getting to hear this album. Everybody says this next record's our best record, but I do sense like a lot of intentional change and growth. It's still Capra music, which I love, but like I love that there's like a lot of depth here, an expansion of In Transmission for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to say, this is our best album. We definitely stepped it up. We definitely evolved in our own way. I know that there's still some people that are going to like In Transmission more than this one. However, I feel like this album was intended to include more people to our sound.
Absolutely. Obviously, I have to give it up to the master of growth of bands, Jamie Josta, who says you have to reinvent your band every 3 years and grow a whole new fan base, basically. You always have your diehards that started with you, but if you don't bring new people in by any means necessary, you're going to fall off. So wise words from a guy. I saw him get dropped off by his mom when he was like 19 with no beard and a white t-shirt, and he had a baby face, and then he got on the mic and raw. So... Errors, right off the bat, it just pulls you in. I know you guys chatted about like a space-time continuum between albums in terms of sound. Like, let's go right into the next record with a sort of teaser from the last record, which it's like a super, super cool mechanism, if you will. But just storytelling wise, this is such a record that really tractor beams you in. I don't know, fish hooks you in. I don't know how else to say it. It really gripped me. I love a lot of the lyrics and try to get the meanings of the songs just interpretively, but this record really just jacks you in the brain, and just grabs you. And I don't know if that was purposeful or just personal stuff going on with you guys, but yeah.
Thank
you. Yeah, thanks.
I think we all have our own like emotional outlets, and we all tie it in a certain way, and that's what makes it the way it feels.
I definitely agree. I think this is like the last album. And I kind of mentioned this in a different interview earlier this week, but the last album really was me kind of maybe being a little bit more vague about how I feel about things, just because I didn't know just how comfortable I felt being vulnerable in my songwriting. And I think for this album, it was kind of more of just like a, hey, fuck it. I mean, it's do or die. And I might as well just talk about the things that I'm feeling all the time. And if somebody doesn't like it or, anything like that, then too bad, I guess, because people are going to not like it regardless, whether or not I'm vague. So I might as well be a little bit more authentic and a little bit more honest about how I feel.
No doubt. And why not let it all hang out at this point? Because the world is on fire and the planet is trying to kill us. And
right.
There's been a weird, not with you guys, because I think I can't say I'm super plugged into all my peers, but generally speaking, it seems like there's a lot of excitement about this record, which makes me happy. But also there's like a weird industry and fan backlash to any band that's like too on the rise, literally across every gender and but
True.
It does seem like lately there's a lot of clapback if you're getting too big too fast. People are like, where'd they come from? They didn't pay their dues. We know you guys put the work in across other bands, in this band, on the road, in the studio, all the things. So have you felt any of that? Do you think that's I think that's a thing. Do you agree that that's a thing?
I do agree that that's I don't know that I pay attention to it too much to notice that it would be happening to us. Like, I know where we came from, like we know where we came from, and we do just try to stay as authentic as possible. The goal is to continue doing this and, you know, making it something we can do full time, and that's really all we're focused on.
It is something that I notice more so for like other groups. I like personally like felt it a lot more heavily on the first album. Just like the reception was for the most part really good, but it was a lot of like negativity. But for me, I'm fine with like a little bit of criticism whenever it's warranted. For the most part, about ignoring it and just not paying attention to it. And that's why I always tell my bandmates anytime they're like reading a comment like, hey, listen to this asshole, I'm like, no, like you guys do that when I'm not around. I just don't want to hear it. It's not even so much that I like put any merit to it, because like, you know, who is just some random stranger on the internet that's talking shit, but it's more so just like, what's the point of dwelling on that more than the like tons of people that are really supportive and really kind. I'd rather put more value toward their opinions than the other people.
Amazing. It reminds me of the movie Singles, when Matt Dillon is the singer in the band Citizen Dick, and Pearl Jam is basically his band in the movie. And they're reading this bad review, and he's like, no, I don't want to hear anything negative. And they're like, okay, nothing negative. Something. Nope. And capably backed by Stone, Jeff, and Eddie as a backing band. That's awesome. A good review for us is a good review for you. It's so hard. And as a person that I played in bands for a long time, marginally successful. And, criticism is a thing that I studied. I think there's a lot of online haters out there who type with one finger, neckbeards. I have a full beard, neckbeard people who are gatekeepery and not supportive. And I understand what albums I'm listening to, and I understand how criticism works. But fans are fans, and sometimes, and the internet is toxic, let's face it. Even though I work in social media, it's pretty toxic. But you guys have seemed to hold it together, which I'm really happy about. What a complete record. Let's talk about the recording and the production stuff for a second before we get into the tracks. I know you guys went back to the same mixing and mastering team, because why not when you have the best? But let's talk about the production and the recording. Was there anything you gained along the way onto record number 2 that, you brought into the studio with you in terms of, some upgrades and changes just internally or musically? Or
I think we did it it was the first time we traveled to record an album. Typically everything before this album we would do just with our friend Jai, like in a bedroom, and this was like an actual studio where the first 3 days we went into Estuary and did drum tracking and everything was live, and then went to Andrew Hernandez's studio. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. He's going to get mad at me and I'm going to get a text message. But anyway, I think that was cool. I think being in a new location, especially since there was I think there was 2 songs where we didn't have them finished. Or we had a general idea of how to finish it, but we did that mostly in studio. So it was just cool to be away from home, and we were all together for the week, and we watched Roadhouse during recording it. I think that really amped up the way of this album, the aggression of the album.
The album was definitely inspired by Roadhouse.
Yeah. Amazing. Swayze is always a win, every movie, every time.
Agreed.
No bad movies. And the world is a colder place without him. I'm still waiting for a metal cover of She's Like the Wind. Anybody out there? You guys, someone else, please someone humor me and make this happen, make my dreams come true. But yeah, that's amazing, Roadhouse. Yeah, I was trying to help you out there and look it up on my phone, because I also should know that, because it was totally in the press notes we were given. But yeah, Andrew's phenomenal. People should look him up on Discogs, the stuff he's worked on and done. So this record, it's all the things you love about Capra, and in a nice new package orally, and which I really dig. So let's dive into the tracks, if you will. I will shout out the song titles, hopefully not butcher some of them, and you guys share whatever you feel like sharing that's appropriate. So Errors starts off, and I don't know if this is supposed to be a word or an abbreviation, but is it CHSF?
Are we gonna get into that or what?
No, but
Okay.
that was the second song I wrote for the album. So Tied Up was the first song. I think it was the day In Transmission came out. I kind of just sat down with guitar, took focus off of like everything coming in, and wrote Tied Up. And then the second one was CHSF. Those two just kind of gave the vibe and the feeling for how the album would go. And it was more so like CHSF has that like big 4-hit ring out intro, and I definitely wanted to like combine that with the last 4-hit ring out outro from the first album, so it just kind of ties in together. Yeah, other than that, those 2 songs were the vibe setters for me.
I think also for those two, wasn't it like, maybe my memory is like wrong or whatever, but weren't we like also kind of debating whether or not those were going to go on the first album too? And then it was kind of like we had to like make that decision. I don't know. I feel like that was a thing. I feel like there was like a number of songs that we were like, well, which ones are we saving for later and which ones are going to be on the first one? And then we were like, we're just going to save these. We like sat on those for a while. So we've been having those for much longer than like basically the rest of the tracks on Errors.
I can't remember, because I remember, well, we did the 3 songs to add to In Transmission. So I don't think anything else was planned, but we did initially have an idea, just with COVID and everything, to go in and record some new songs.
Right.
Those 2 were supposed to be like an EP, but then we decided
Something
against
like that.
it because they were wanting those to be taken off the album, which to me, it just, since it was the vibe for the next album, would have just thrown me for a loop of how to replace those.
It's pretty killer. You have 2 kind of could have been the lead track, and they work perfectly, and they are great table setters. A weak sports analogy on a Friday when I haven't had enough coffee. The third track of the album, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, is it Silana?
Something like that. It's not really a word, or doesn't really mean anything. It's like an anagram for something else that I won't get into, but it was kind of like this let's be vague on this one. It was a little bit of a breakup song for a platonic relationship that went on for way too long. So let's just put it that way.
Fair enough. Toxic people need to get out, whoever they are. It's hard sometimes. Also, you could say this is like your studio.
yeah, true.
80s all the way. This interview, all the 80s references. Any other thoughts, Tyler, on Silana before we move on?
That was the first one that I put a breakdown in. The first album, like when writing it, was just intended to be just full chaos and like relentless aggression, and then I think, like, I always read the YouTube comments and stuff. I like them, even if they're negative, no matter what.
Just
sometimes they're
keep
hilarious.
it to yourself. That's all
I know. I try to do better about not reading them out loud, but anyway, there was one comment, and it was a nice comment, but this guy, he was just like, oh, no breakdowns, and I was thinking like, well, it was intended for album 1, but I wanted to put some on the new album, and I think this Silana was the first song that I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it to this, for that guy specifically on YouTube. I can't remember his name.
Let him have it.
Yeah, that was him. His name was Silana 4206.
Silana, please.
Yeah.
Amazing. I hope he hears it and shuts the fuck. Anyway, the next track is Trauma Bond.
Easily my favorite song on the album.
This is, I think, probably my favorite as well. Well, between this one and Human Commodity, but this one is definitely my favorite to perform because we've played it a few times already. And it's just great. The reception is like really, really great. Usually the songs that get the most like crowd movement is like stuff from In Transmission, like older stuff, just because more people recognize it. But I think that this one is a little bit more kind of like bare bones, like true to like classic hardcore, I'd say. So I think that a lot of people just receive it really well. And it's something that's really exciting to be able to be in the crowd for, just in my opinion. I love this one.
Especially like hearing it for the first time. Like, there's so many twists and turns where it starts off with those just aggressive notes, and you don't know where it's going to go, but then it slows down, and then at some point just picks way up, just starts going off. So it's fun. Yeah, I think we started moving that one up earlier in the set just because people would start to go off to that song. I think the first time we played it was on the Kill Switch tour back in April, and it was our last song, and people would just start going off on the last song. It's like, oh, we got to move this one out. We got to get them riled up earlier.
It's definitely a banger and a pit mover for sure. Probably my favorite track on the record is the next track, and that's Loser.
Oh, nice.
That's a good one too. I like that one too. That one actually, that's another one that I feel like the crowd really likes that one a lot, which I don't know if that's an indicator of, how much people are going to actually like the recording, because the recording is always so much different from the live song. But that's another one. That's just another one that I'm just like was pissed off when I was writing, and I really like that song as well. It's another one of my favorites. I'd say it's got to be somewhere near the top.
I like it now. After I wrote it, I hated it for like.
I agree. I'm in the same boat. I didn't like it at first either, but it grew on me like a lot.
Yeah. Y'all convinced me to, well, Jeremy and Trevor convinced me to keep it. I thought it was too simple. I thought it was too dumbed down. You know, there was
simple.
nothing crazy about it. It was so straightforward that I was like, I don't know about that. And now I think it's great. I think it's got fun parts and it is fun to play live.
Yeah.
Right on. I suspect this next track is also fun to play live. You talked about the chaos of the first record musically, and I like that Kingslayer just riffs, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just riffy, and I love that.
We've never played it live.
Yeah, we haven't played that one live.
Like, I mean, we played it, you know, at practice and stuff, but that's one of the songs we have not played live yet. It's coming soon.
This is me asking, please, can I have another?
Well, next time you're at the show, we'll play. We just gotta practice.
This one is like one that I definitely was like a lot more I don't know about, just because the vocals, I feel like at least the cadence of them are a lot different from anything else on the album. So it was something that I definitely had to kind of like build up the courage to be like, okay, let's just own it how I wrote it. And I do appreciate that it's got like a little bit of something different compared to the rest of the songs on the album.
I feel like it also started off this song started off as a joke. Like it was when like just those early thrash riffs. It was when Metallica was releasing new music, and then I think Jeremy and I were joking around. It's like we could write a Metallica song, and then came up with the initial thrash riff for the beginning.
Might have to cut that one so Metallica doesn't. Not that I expect Metallica to watch this video.
They're not watching this.
Oh my god, dude.
Hey bro, it's Lars. I watch Ghost Cult Bag's interviews all the time, and I saw your interview, bro, and I'm not really pleased. My lawyers will be calling.
I love Metallica. Like
I know,
you know.
I know it's, you know, they earn all the grief because they got so much glory, so it's okay. We can still love Metallica. Yeah, I would love to hear that one live. Just saying. There's several great guest appearances on the record, but none greater than the great Candace of Walls of Jericho and Human Commodity. Just dropped the video. Unbelievable performance, Crow, by yourself and Candace. You know, obviously, like, guest appearances sometimes level up a thing, but, like, I think it was a great song by itself. And then Candace comes in like a bulldozer, and so I haven't heard her in quite a while other than listening to the old jams. So I know they've been touring a bit. So what was it like working with her and making this song together?
She's just been so great. And then I think one of the best things about it is that we get along really well. Like, she's just a generally really cool person. But I will say that we did record the song first, like just fully through with just my vocals. And then I think it was like after it was recorded, maybe that Tyler was like, hey, like maybe start considering, you know, like adding someone else to it. And then whenever we heard it for the first time with her vocals on it, it was like, man, this is so cool. Like, she just really added so much to it. One of my favorite things about it is how we just have like a completely different sound as far as like the rhythm of how we deliver a line, but also just like the actual, like just sonically very different sound of our voices. And I think that they just complement each other really, really well. So that's why this is definitely one of my favorite songs on the album.
Anything to add, my man?
Oh, I mean, it's obviously, it's just crazy to have her as a part of this album. Like, I've been listening to them since I was 12, 13 years old. And then when we parted ways with our last vocalist, like, I mean, Walls of Jericho was one of the biggest influences on why I wanted to switch it up, and is why we asked Crow to come and join the band with us. It was just that vibe, you know. It was Walls of Jericho and a few others, but mainly Walls of Jericho. And I got to see them at Furnace Fest in 2021. I remember the lineup was super crazy, and I had to run from like stage to stage. But that was one of the bands that like reunited at Furnace Fest, and I got to see them live, and then fast forward like 2 years later, you know, she's a part of this album with us. Still just very surreal to me.
Sweet. I get a shout out to Furnace Fest and what all they do, bringing back a lot of bands and just doing awesome stuff. I need to get down there one year. It's always something going on in September, and I can't make it, but maybe next year will be the year. We're getting through these pretty good. The next track is Transplant.
My other favorite song on the album. That one's just straight up rocking.
Forgot about that song. We haven't like played it in so long that I literally haven't heard it since we recorded it. Well, I mean, I listened to the album after it was finished, but that was really it. Yeah, that one's a cool one too. I mean,
it's all right. It's pretty cool.
No, it's good. I like it.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. That one, just while writing it, I knew it was going to be a very fun song. Like I said, it's just straight up old school rock and roll from the
It's
start
fun.
to finish.
Yeah, it's a fun one for sure.
I'm also a fan. The next to last track is Obligatory Existence, which is also a banger.
I didn't realize until like after that, like after I chose the title for it, that I was like, is this like too close to Existence is Punishment? And I was like, no, it's okay. I didn't even think about it, but
I never thought.
yeah, I'm like big Crowbar fan over here, but
That's a
I
huge
like
thing.
I like that one a lot. That one's definitely a little bit more of a I would say a little bit more of maybe a bummer, but I think that I have to have a few bummer tracks on the album or I just won't be happy, which is maybe ironic. And I really did enjoy like writing. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say I enjoyed writing the lyrics for it because I wasn't in the best mood, but I'm happy with how the lyrics came out.
I'd say that one's a bummer for me to play too. I don't even know if I remember that one. It's a tough
Bummer for
song
different
to
reasons,
play.
maybe. Yeah.
That's
No
one
worries.
of the songs where I'm like, I'm playing it and thinking, why did I do this? Why did I write it?
That's deadbeat assailant for me. Every time we do it, I'm like, why did I
Yeah.
do this to myself?
I'm coughing in the microphone.
Oh,
You know, we all sorry about that. We all have those, and certainly no shade or shame. Crowbars in your backyard, basically, and we're huge Crowbar fans here. Also, seen them all over the world, so no worries on the title. And I like the track, so that's me. And then you have this really cool. See, I'm rubbing off on Tyler. You have this really cool, unusual ending in Nora. What I found to be unusual and refreshing, but like what a change from all these other tracks to Nora. And it's definitely unlike any other thing you've done before. And that's, I know, a cliche, but tell me about Nora.
Well, yeah, you go ahead.
no, I was just saying, I didn't have anything to say.
Oh, I will
Just go
start
for
by
it.
saying I have nothing to say.
Really?
No, I
Oh,
that was like an idea that I had for the first album, but like I said, it was more so intended on just being like relentless aggression, and then it just worked out for this album. Like when we recorded with Andrew, like as we were recording, I just noticed this gigantic, awesome sounding piano in there, and it made sense to add that. And then the guitar parts, just I've had written probably since before this was even a band, you know, and I've always wanted to do something just with those chords and like that time signature. And yeah, it worked out. I'm glad we didn't force it on the first album and then got to use it on this one, because I feel like it ends off. And
Yeah,
I got to use it after my dog.
Oh, nice. Nice. Were you gonna say something, Crow? I'm sorry.
no, you're good. I was just gonna say that this is definitely a song for me that was it felt a little bit more vulnerable because I don't do clean vocals really on anything. The closest thing I have to clean vocals on anything else is like yelling. So it was kind of strange to just do this more spoken word type of thing. And I don't even remember whose idea that might have even been my idea. I don't remember whose idea it was to do
No, it was yours.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, well, let's just do something a little different. And then I was like, oh, it was like kind of strange to hear it at first. But I think that it's like, I don't know, I can appreciate something that's not the same as everything else on the album. I think it's a little bit of a change of pace for sure.
Right on. That was great. Thank you for unpacking all that with me. I have two quick last questions for you, and I will give you back your day. I know you're busy doing a lot of press. Obviously, like I said, a lot of big tour things coming up, but OMG, Dios De Los Homes. Wow, wow. I know Tyler's a huge fan. Crow, thoughts on playing that fest? I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Deftones was one of the first bands that I ever listened to. So it's definitely, and I have a lot of fond memories, Deftones, just because that was like one of my older brother's favorite bands when I was a kid. And so it was like one of the first bands that I had heard an older sibling play. And I was like, this is so cool, you know? And it really is just kind of like, it's kind of unreal, like to think about, I guess, how far we've come. But also, this is the first time I'm playing a show with a band that my mom has heard of, which is exciting. Also, the other thing that I was really excited about the show was like, I was so excited to see the rest of the lineup after we had gotten asked to do it. And I'm not disappointed. I'm excited to see every single one of the other bands that's on the bill. So that's just as exciting for me as kind of like anything else. Tyler, anything?
That's crazy.
Yes, that was exactly. I was gonna be like Pinback. Oh my gosh,
crazy, dude! Like
that's so crazy.
I just want to hang out with Rob Crow for a little bit, and not to use and like, and I mean, obviously, Deftones. That band Ryle is pretty sweet. It's some of the Cult Leader guys. It's definitely like an eclectic lineup that is just going to be overall fun day for everybody.
It'll be fun.
Word. And San Diego especially in the late autumn months, is pretty comfortable as opposed to the summer. And yeah, just there, it's going to be tremendous. I'm really proud of you guys. Last one, since we ended off with this the last time, Tyler, we were talking about the nod to Jane Doe on the in transmission artwork. Is there a subtle or a not so subtle nod on this artwork for errors that you want to call out? I'd love to hear it if there is one.
Not so much. The first album we ran it with Ben Fruit. He designed the album art for us, and then for this album, Crow kind of took the reins on where we went with it. Definitely like more simplistic, just that like simple line art and stuff like that. So yeah, how did we even find that? It was like I think it was like a Russian military handbook.
Something like that. I don't know if it was Russian, but it was a military, like some like visual pictorial of like, I guess, how to rip somebody's throat open or something. But
yeah,
which seems like maybe there's a better way to teach someone how to do that other than just like drawings. But especially in the heat of the moment, when you would probably actually have to utilize it. But also, yeah, I just wanted something that was just like really, really simple, something that was just like maybe just a white background, just because the first album was just so like, I guess, I don't know how to describe it, but there was a lot going on. And I like the idea of like seeing something and knowing exactly what it is right away. And that's kind of where my mind was with that particular idea for a design.
And it works for how the first album like musically was. A lot going on and chaos. And then this album, we kind of dissected different sort of things and added new things. So I think it works well with even just upon looks describing like what's going to be inside of that.
It's subtly horrifying. Anywho, thank you guys so much. As a journalist, you are not supposed to have bands you're openly rooting for or favorites, but I have a band I'm openly rooting for, and that is one of my favorites, and that is you guys. So thank you so much for this interview, and thank you for Errors coming out on Metal Blade /Blacklight Media. Thanks for hanging out with Ghost Cult.
So anytime you want us, we're here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I'll see you on the road, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Big Hollywood wave.
Yeah.
The Forrest Gump wave. Peace.
Bye.